Another news story that we've been tracking on this one this morning has been this question of why central banks are buying gold like crazy. 152% spike that I'm reading this morning. Central bank gold buying increased by 152% last year. China led the charge, their total reported gold reserves growing to over 2,000 tons. And globally, central banks have added to net reserves for 13 straight years. Kevin is back. Hopefully his microphone's a little set. Hey, Kevin.
How's that?
That's much better. Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right, so give us your
Sorry.
prognostication here, Nostradamus. What's happening here? China buying, gold like crazy, but central banks also spike in their gold buying. What's happening?
Yeah. So one of the most important lessons I've learned in purchasing gold is, go where the big money's purchasing, and there's no bigger money than central banks. So a couple of stats here. Central banks have purchased 650 metric tons of gold um, in 2022, which, if you look at that number, Austin, 650 tons is higher than any volume that we've seen in central banks going all the way back to 1967. So you'd have to go all the way back 55 years to see that kind of volume with central banks. And the reason that that's important is because 1967 was the start of kind of stagflation and inflation. And then you saw the gold price rise over 900%. So the central banks are just following along with what historically they've done when they start to see inflation. And inflation is tough to beat. And central banks are not day traders, they're not speculators. So they typically hold that gold for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And that's why it's important for investors to watch what those central banks are doing. So I think it's a big deal. And I think, most of the information that's coming out is they're continuing to buy in January and February of this year as well.
So whenever I see the rich guys making moves like that, Kevin, I always say to myself, well, I can't afford to do the kind of moves that these guys are doing in the marketplace. I mean, if you're a small time investor, so let's say you've only got, maybe $1,000. So, because a lot of times, people won't take you if you want to invest in something of significance, they'll say, well, you got to really have $10,000. I mean, is it even possible for people who have maybe like only $1,000 or $2,000 squirreled away to be able to make those kinds of investments?
Yeah, you can. There's smaller denomination silver or gold pieces, 10th ounce gold pieces that you can get into for a couple of $100s. And then silver pieces. I think the silver market is extremely undervalued. It looks like silver's just absolutely on sale compared to where gold's trading at right now. Last time gold was this high, silver was $47 an ounce, and we're trading, at $22 an ounce. So there's different ways for people to play this market and invest over the next 3 to 5 years and take advantage with smaller amounts of invested dollars.
Yeah, a lot of my friends are really into silver because they look at that as an affordable way to kind of enter this commodities market. So, for example, if I were to contact Lear Capital today and say, knowing that I've got maybe $1,000 to spend, is silver coins what people are typically looking at? I mean, I guess bars are another option and stuff like that. What kind of like products is Lear Capital offering to the smaller investors?
Yeah, so good question. There's bars and coins, both 1 ounce. You can get larger bars, 10 ounce, 100 ounce silver bars. Same with, the gold bars. So it really depends on what you're looking to do. So we get people, I would say 50% of our business is on retirement accounts. So IRAs or 401ks that people have, they can invest there. And we put a little bit different type of metal in there. When I say different type of metal, different denominations to try to get you the best possible price. And then outside of an IRA for physical home delivery, just depends on where you'd like it stored. Silver is fairly bulky. So do you want it in your safety deposit box? Do you have your own safe? So on and so forth. And we try to make it easy to determine which denominations will be best for people.
What's the advantage of working with someone like Lear Capital over saying, hey, just taking my cash and going down to the local pawn shop?
Great question. First of all, we've got a lot of research. I don't think the pawn shop's doing research on, the gold and silver and where prices are going to go. They're definitely not going to be able to help you with an IRA or a 401k placing physical gold, there. And then we make a buy and sell market immediately for people. So you pick up the phone, we lock in the price right away when you're purchasing. You don't have to have money on account. We'll lock in the price for you. And when you go to sell, you have your physical metal. We lock in the price and then send you out some labels for Federal Express to get that metal back to us. So we make it very easy to buy and sell and know exactly what your pricing is. And hopefully my pricing will beat, a pawn shop by a wide margin.
I'm sure it will, actually. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to Kevin DeMeritt. He is the founder and principal of Lear Capital. Lear Capital helps sponsor this show. We're talking to them a little bit about what they have on offer. Now, I have a Roth IRA left over from a previous job. I've got a certain amount of money in it. My wife invests in mutual funds, and I mean, we have just gotten killed in the last year, Kevin. And so we're asking ourselves, we've already got all this money that's already invested in stocks. If we want to move some of that sideways into actual physical metals, is that something that we would take a tax hit for? Like, if let's say we have something, a Roth IRA portfolio, and it's already in stocks. If I were to sell some of those stocks in that portfolio and then decide to purchase, some physical gold and metals from Lear Capital, is that something that I could do? Could I allocate a portion of that Roth IRA into gold and silver without having a tax consequence?
Yeah, great question. The answer is yes. We would set up a new account, and you would move any portion of that Roth IRA that you wanted to over to the precious metals. And then we would place physical precious metals in that account, and you can buy and sell anytime, just like you would with your stock. So there's no tax ramifications whatsoever.
Right. But if we have, for example, if we decide to take ownership of that gold and silver, then at that point in time, there would be the tax liability, just like if we had sold the stock and cashed it out, correct?
Yeah, same exact situation if you took the cash out of your Roth IRA now. Well, with a Roth IRA, you don't have any tax consequences. You'd have just a penalty, but you wouldn't have any tax consequences because you already paid before you put it in your Roth. But on a traditional IRA, you would have some tax penalties, or tax. You'd have to pay your taxes, and then you'd have some penalties. So it's no different than any other IRA.
So people are always concerned about the security of their investments. When it comes to paper stocks and things like that, we know that it's an intangible. So when we buy gold and silver, Kevin, we know we're getting something tangible. So if a portion of our retirement is in gold and silver, we say, well, we can take ownership of it any time. But the question is, you know, where is it?
Yeah. So we store all of those metals, or the custodian stores those metals at Delaware Depository, which was one of the largest depositories in the world. They are also insured by Lloyd's of London. The U.S. government uses them for all of the futures contracts, and you can take physical delivery anytime you'd like. So the nice part about working with Lear and Equity, which is the custodian of the IRA, is most custodians make you sell out the precious metals and then send a check just like you would typically with your stock. With this IRA, you can actually take physical possession of the metals without selling and then having to rebuy the metals outside the IRA again. So huge depository, very secure and well known, and a couple of different advantages using them because of their size and the technology that they have to be able to send the gold to you while it's still in your IRA.
Obviously, a very competitive business that you're in, Kevin. Is there any unique value add that Lear Capital offers to clients and customers that you think really makes you all stand out?
Yeah, I think there's really three. Number one, working with IRAs, we're approved to be able to do that. A lot of other companies are not. Some are, but a lot of others are not. Number two, just our information and research. And we have one of the largest inventories in the country. So we just have a little bit more choices for people, which can really help out when the market, is volatile, because platinum, palladium, silver, gold, we can help people move around a little bit. And lastly, we have a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. I think we're the only company out there that has it, which means when you place an order, existing or new customer, we give you 24 hours to take a look at that invoice, check it out, check the pricing, so on and so forth. And you can cancel for whatever reason and, walk away from that purchase. So we try to make everything very transparent to make sure that everybody's comfortable with each transaction that happens.
Yes, things like that that make me proud that you're a sponsor of the Wake Up America show. I just want to say on behalf of all of our friends, we're building a very thriving, very positive community over there, and all of the Cantina crew, as we like to call them, would like to say thanks and extending your gratitude to supporting the Wake Up America show to help support the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty, of which gold and silver are certainly a cornerstone of. Kevin DeMeritt from Lear Capital, thank you very much for your time today. We certainly appreciate you very much.
Thanks, Austin. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. And if you like what you heard today, make sure that you visit their website or call the phone number that you see in the top of the screen right over there, 1-800-885-2175. If you like Kevin DeMeritt and you think this is a man I could do business with and help support the Wake Up America show, visit them at learaustin.com. That's LEARAUSTIN.com. That's LEARAUSTIN.com. They'd love it if you give them a call. It's a lot easier these days. I know people are like, oh, getting on the phone, calling someone on the phone. You can do it. 1-800-885-2175. Write down that number and give them a call as soon as the show is over and find out what they have. They'll send you a free gold and silver informational packet. They'll do that the same if you visit the website, but there's nothing like an inbound call. 1-800-885-2175. I believe in gold, I believe in silver, and I believe in guns and Lear Capital.